Dear all Universitas Terbuka students of Magister Program of Fisheries Management, it is a pleasure to meet all of you in this TV tutorial of Universitas Terbuka in this program. I will discuss about Manajemen sumberdaya perikanan. My name is Jiří Patoka. I'm a researcher from the Czech University of Life Sciences in the Czech Republic in Prague. It is my great pleasure to introduce here some topics related with my research. I'm in contribution with academic staff from Terbuka University, and here are my 5 topics. The first topic is on aquarium trade. At first, some brief introduction, what is it, and some general characteristics of aquarium trade. Aquarium trade is focused on ornamental animals, ornamental aquatic animals, which are used for ornamental fish keeping. It is keeping just for ornamental purpose, not for consumption, not for research, just for ornamental purpose. You can find also some animals which are kept for both purposes, for consumption and as ornamentals. But keeping for consumption or stocking for consumption and culture for consumption is not a part of ornamental aquaculture. So this is a branch of aquaculture, a sector of aquaculture, and species which are kept for ornamental purposes are kept both in freshwater aquaria, in indoor aquaria, and also some marine, and also in some outdoor ponds. Outdoor ponds can be private or public, especially in some parks, and there are some animals kept for outdoor ornamental aquaculture. Target species, what is it? Ornamental species, ornamental aquatic species. There are both vertebrates and invertebrates. Vertebrates, I mean mainly fishes. And invertebrates, there are some crustaceans, decapod crustaceans like shrimps, crayfish, crabs, and so on. And also some invertebrates like mollusks and other animals. Target environment used for ornamental keeping is, in case of marine animals, mainly coral reefs from tropical zone. You can find also some brackish aquaria, but brackish aquaria are not so popular as in comparison with marine ones. And freshwater. Freshwater ornamental aquaculture is very popular worldwide. There are many pet shops and pet owners focused directly on freshwater animals, because the keeping of freshwater animals is easy and there are not so high costs in comparison with marine ornamental fish keeping. So typically children who are interested in aquatic animals started with freshwater indoor aquaria. And climatic conditions in aquarium or in ornamental aquaculture are typically tropical in case of indoor aquaria, because fishes and other animals from tropical zone are much more attractively colored in comparison with animals from temperate zone. And there are also some temperate, or you can say cold water animals, which are used for ornamental keeping, but these are in some coloration morphs and kept especially in outdoor ponds like koi or nishiki-goi. Now about the global aquarium trade. There are more than 100, about 120 countries which contribute on collection, farm, culture, and import and export of these animals worldwide. Estimated value is about 330 million up to $1 billion American dollars per year. It is an economically important sector of aquaculture. How many animals are traded globally per annum as ornamentals? It is hard to say, because we have no direct evidence and some statistic evidence about traded animals. We know just some number of shipments and weight of the shipment, but it is together with water. Nobody knows how many animals are in the shipment, and thus this is a rough estimation about more than 1 billion fish per annum and other animals. Here is a comparison of a value of fish traded for human consumption and fish traded for ornamental purpose. You can see that the value of ornamental animals is much higher in comparison with fish used for human consumption. Thus, this is economically important sector of aquaculture. Here are a map of producers of freshwater and marine biota for ornamental purpose. There are many countries from tropical zone in South America, in Southeastern Asia, and also in Africa who produce ornamental animals for the trade. Especially in Southeastern Asia, there are many farms who are focused directly on ornamental animals. In South America, the situation is different, completely different, because main producers, or you can say collectors of these animals, harvest the animals from the wild. And also in Africa, mainly in Nigeria and Congo, there are producers who do not cultivate the animals, but harvest them from the wild. So it is clear that there is a risk of over-harvesting of many endemic species which are popular for ornamental purpose. And in case of marine biota, these are also captured in the wild. And you can see in the gray zone that there are some countries which also produce some ornamental animals, like North America, like the United States, in Europe, the Czech Republic, and in Asia, China. They also produce some fauna for ornamental purpose, but mainly in indoor farms. There is no harvest from the wild, and this is the main difference between countries in tropical zone and countries in the temperate zone. Now, where are the differences between freshwater and brackish ornamental animals, temperate, or you can say cold water animals, and tropical marine? In case of freshwater and brackish, especially in freshwater, the vast majority of these animals are cultured in the captivity. So they are produced in some farms or indoor aquaria. There are more than 5,000 species used for ornamental purpose. The number of species is increasing year by year. Many new species are introduced to the ornamental trade, and also some new species used as ornamentals are scientifically described after their export abroad, because many animals are attractively colored and nobody cares about their origin and scientific name, but everybody cares about the commercial value. So they are especially introduced first on the ornamental trade, then are scientifically described. Majority of these animals, freshwater and freshwater and brackish, are produced in Asian countries, especially in Southeastern Asia. There are many farms focused on this aquaculture sector, and many of these animals are exported abroad to other countries from Asia. In case of cold water animals, or you can say temperate animals, they are usually kept in outdoor ponds, in some parks or in some gardens. These animals are kept in the coloration morph, which is attractive for the keeper, and majority of them are therefore farmed also in the captivity. There is probably no harvest from the wild. And in case of tropical marine animals, they are mainly harvested from the wild. It is the difference between freshwater and marine. It is clear that there is a risk to overharvest some local population of marine animals, and therefore some conservation practice must be applied on and to regulate this harvesting to be sustainable for future. Thus, the main difference between freshwater and marine aquarium trade is that in freshwater the majority of these animals are from the captivity, and majority of marine animals are from the wild. Species used as ornamentals were used from ancient times. In case of ancient China and Japan, there were some goldfishes and also later koi, nishiki koi, used as ornamentals. Much later, in the mid of 20th century, some invertebrates were added as ornamental animals were introduced on the market. At first, gastropods, later decapod crustaceans like shrimps and crayfish and crabs, and later, at the beginning of the 21st century, also some bivalves were introduced for ornamental keeping. In case of bivalves, it is not so easy to keep them as ornamentals because they are filtrators and need many food intake, and therefore they were introduced later, and currently we are able to feed them and to keep them for a long time. We can say that ornamental trade is a growing sector of aquaculture, economically so important in many countries, and it is the importance of this trade is similar to the trade with aquatic animals for consumption. Where are the leading exporters of these animals? Here is a map. You can see red and some countries highlighted by red and yellow color. The red color indicates the top exporters. The majority of them are in Southeastern Asia. There are top 5 exporters of these animals in Singapore, which is the top one, and also Indonesia, Thailand, Malaysia, and Philippines in case of marine animals. And also Japan is important in case of nishiki koi, and there are 2 small countries which are also important for ornamental trade. In Europe, there is the Czech Republic, which is a hub for ornamental animals imported and also locally produced, and subsequently exported to other European countries. And also Israel, where the production of ornamental animals is increasing recently rapidly. So these countries are Singapore, Malaysia, Philippines, Vietnam, Thailand, Japan, China, Israel, Czech Republic, Colombia, Peru, Brazil, Nigeria, Congo, Egypt, Kenya, India, Sri Lanka, and Indonesia. Indonesia is one of the main suppliers of these animals on the world. Here is an example of import of marine ornamentals to the United States. You can see that the majority of these animals are exported from Philippines, but also Indonesia plays an important role in this regard. And leading importers are in North America, Europe, and Japan. The European countries are supported by re-export from the Czech Republic, as I highlighted before, and the vast majority of these animals are exported once or twice per week to these countries. So Indonesia and the Czech Republic are strongly connected by ornamental trade with aquatic animals. Thousands and thousands of animals are exported from Indonesia to Europe and other countries like United States and Japan per week. And many of them are scientifically undescribed, and it is so important to survey these animals to say which species is which, because without scientific description and scientific name of these animals, it is clearly impossible to say if the animal is harvested and exploited sustainably, or if there is some risk to be extinct in the wild, because some intensive capture for ornamental purpose can easily damage some local population or the whole species in case of endemic animals, endemic species. And therefore the monitoring of species used for ornamental trade is important. In case of culture, so there are also some risks related with ornamental trade, because many of animals cultured are non-native in case of especially Southeastern Asian countries. And these non-native animals can easily escape from the farms and subsequently establish some new populations which can be harmful for native biota and native environments, because these animals can behave as invaders. And thus I will follow with some other presentations on the ornamental trade directly in Indonesia, and also on related risks in case of biological invasions. And I will show you how to fight against biological invasions, how to prevent biological invasions, and it is related with the ornamental aquaculture. So the first topic is over. Thank you for your attention. Terima kasih. And conclusion is that the ornamental aquaculture plays an important role in many countries like Indonesia, but there are some risks related with the sector of aquaculture, and we will focus on them in next presentations. Audience and all Universitas Terbuka students, this is in the end of our discussion about Manajemen Sumberdaya Perikanan. I hope this discussion will give a great benefit to all of you, and I wish you all the best in your study and be successful.